As always, if you wish to set this on a faster speed, please go ahead and go for it. Won't hurt my feelings at all, and I won't know the difference. Here we go. We are talking about independent groups, like small group Socratic seminars. So having several mini Socratic seminars going on around your classroom at the exact same time. Oh, now to some people, this sounds like the stuff of nightmares. Because it's true, you are letting go of a lot of control in this type of scenario. However, it can be very empowering for students, and you can assign roles to different students within the group. So you can say that one student in the group is going to be the guide or the lead facilitator, and they're going to be the ones that help to steer things and keep things on track and make sure to ask a couple of questions and that everybody gets in on the discussion, okay? So roles are a very good idea. So you want to do, whoopsie, sorry about that. You want to do some roles within those groups, okay? Now another role that you might like to assign is that of the scribe or the note taker, okay? So you'll have the facilitator, you will have the scribe, okay? And then you can decide if you want to have something like a process observer who kind of gives updates to the group on, well, I think we're doing pretty good on this, but we haven't really heard as much from so-and-so, so we'd like them to kind of jump into the conversation more. Or the process observer might say, hey, it seems like our facilitator is kind of taking too much of a lead, and maybe we want to make sure that we're hearing evenly from everybody. Okay? So process observer kind of has the rubric in mind and is thinking about, well, how is the group doing according to that? And then you can decide, is there going to be another role in this or not? Honestly, when I have done groups like this, small group seminars, it's usually been around 4 to 5 students. Any larger than that, and it tends to get a little messy. But you can do as you like, and you can experiment and take some risks and see. So I wanted to show you a couple of examples, okay, of how this might work. Now, one way that I have done in the past is with nonfiction lit circles. For the life of me, that plan is gone and has evaporated, cannot find it any longer. So I did a wee bit of reconstructing using my friend ChatGPT. So what you'll see here is I started off with the question of what are a set of contemporary nonfiction books that would be appropriate for high school students to read. We had like a social issues unit that was part of our curriculum at the particular high school I was at that year. And so we were looking for nonfiction books that were thought-provoking, that were of varying reading levels, because we know that we want to make sure that all students are able to access a book, or books that interest them and that they fit with their reading levels. Although we also know that students tend to read up if they're really interested in the topic. It doesn't really matter what the reading level is. But aside from that, then students read the book, and they periodically would meet with other students in the classroom who also had their same book. So there were maybe 6 different books being read in the classroom at the same time, all around social issues. And then, of course, I love seminars, so we had the small group ones. We also had one larger one as a whole class to talk about social issues at large. So it gave me my list. And so I asked for important issues, maybe in the United States, but not necessarily only, And so it spit out some for me. This one, Nickel and Dimed, was actually one of the book choices. And then I love the fact that this book is in here. This is a graphic novel. Well, it's not a novel, though. It's a graphic memoir. So that is super cool because that can be very helpful for students. I mean, all students gravitate towards those, but they're also especially helpful for lower level readers. And then, let's see, Enrique's Journey was actually one of our books as well. And that one was a very high interest one. This also comes in a young adult version, so you can look for things like that. Anywho, I'm getting too much into the weeds on that, but then I asked ChatGPT, what are my major topics? Give me some. Immigration, hunger and poverty, civil rights and social justice, education opportunity, mental health trauma, climate and environment. Okay? So anyway, then I asked for Lexile levels and so on. And that's that. That's my list. So basically, each group had a different issue that they were exploring and diving into through the lens of this nonfiction book they were reading, but they were also doing outside research on the issue on their own to tie in and synthesize and bring back to the group. So, a couple of different things going on there. But you can see through this image that you would have different groups in your classroom at the same time. Now, your job as teacher during this, you are wandering, you are walking around a lot. So you might be here for a time, and then you'd listen in, maybe be taking some notes, making some observations. And then you might be over here for a time, listening in on this group for a bit, and then this one, and then kind of wandering around. You get the idea. So this is a thing where the teacher is really roving around the classroom, listening into bits and pieces, but then also staying at a bird's eye view where you're able to notice what different groups are doing. I mean, you can tell a lot through body language, right? So that's one way. But then also you do have the notes from the scribe that you can look at later to kind of do a little bit of assessment there as well. Okay? So another example for you that I wanted to show you is this one. Now, this is one that we did as well, and this was Siddhartha. So there were different topics in Siddhartha that were of real interest to the students that they wanted to know more about, and some also that I provided too. And it just so happened that I decided it would make a lot of sense, since there were several topics rather than just 3 to 5, which would, be a nice fishbowl. I thought, since there were several topics, why not allow smaller groups to select which topic they wanted to be a part of? And so they had to do some preparation for it first, and then there was a gallery walk, and then students decided, well, which one of these issues do I want to talk about? And the following day, that's what they did. So in this type of scenario, again, this is about letting go of control, and this is with a roving kind of mentality. You're not going to hear everything, but you will see and hear a whole lot if you decide to do this sort of a format.